Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I almost forgot what day it was that quick. But happy Wednesday, everybody. Hey, like every Wednesday, me and Michelle, we come on here and we want to drop off nuggets that can help you be disruptive in your business. And so that's the great thing about this business. You'll be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's what we always come up and share what's on our heart. So, like always, I love letting the women go first. So I'm gonna let my co-host let her share her nuggets, and then I'll jump in with what I have that I believe can help you get ready for disruptive next 6 months to a year in your business.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I cannot believe we're halfway through September already. That's a little bit crazy and hard to believe. So I know a lot of you aren't able to have your cameras on right this second, but could I get either a show of hands visually or a comment in the chat or a little reaction? How many of you feel intimidated or unsure about picking up the phone to call somebody and talk to them about your business? Okay, so it looks like we got, from what I can see, pretty much across the board. Good. That's good. Our topic is good this morning then. So what I want to talk about is how do you get over that? So I know that Lance has been in construction for many years, and Valerie worked in a specialized field in the coal industry. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I know that for me personally, starting with I was a 911 dispatcher for 7 years. I started out not knowing anything, never answered a 911 call before. When I started my photography business, I got my camera and I got muted. I don't know how I got muted, but anyway. So with my photography business, when I got my very first camera, it took me 2 hours to take that thing out of the box and put it together. I was terrified of it. Now it's like an extension of my person. It's just something that I can pick up and put down and move fluidly in and out. It doesn't matter what setting I'm in. It doesn't matter if I'm outside in full sun, if I'm inside in the studio, if I'm in a dark light setting. I can pick up that piece of equipment and use it appropriately, no matter what situation I'm in. And I would be willing to bet that for every single one of you who has a profession, that you started similar to where I started. Maybe it wasn't a camera you were terrified of, but maybe it was looking at a huge project and going, I have no idea how to approach this. Or maybe, if you're in the beauty industry, first time you cut somebody's hair, you're like, I don't want to mess that up. Right. And so we all start with our given professions, not knowing anything. Like we don't become a professional overnight, and it doesn't happen immediately. And so it doesn't matter what the industry is, we all start at the same place, which is at the beginning. And that's not knowing an awful lot about what it is that we're setting out to do. But I also know that as we do that, as we step into the formal education program for that profession, or we step into on the job training, or we have somebody who comes alongside and says, I know you've never done this before, but I'm going to teach you how. You just need to be willing to try. We begin to start putting pieces in place to build our competence and our confidence with that profession, whatever that is. And I want to tell you this morning that your network marketing business is no different. It's no different. We all start at the same place of, you never called anybody before. I've never talked to anybody about this before. And I think at this point, probably all of us are past that particular hurdle of you've never picked up the phone before, but that new person that you're bringing onto your team to help them get started, they're not past that point yet. And so, first of all, it's important to remember that we all started somewhere. So when that new person comes in, and maybe you're 5 years down the road and you've got a good team going, and for you, it's old hat, and you're like, just pick up the phone, just do it. It's all right. And that new person might be absolutely terrified, like completely terrified. They have no idea what to say, how to say it, and they don't want to mess up. I think we all have that innate fear of looking silly or incompetent, or like we don't know what we're talking about. We don't want to be embarrassed, I think, is a big part of it. And so we want to talk this morning about how can we overcome that. So the first thing I'm going to say about that is be willing to suck at something new. None of us starts at the top. And so when we just look at that and we say, you know what, I'm probably not going to be very good at this at first, and that's okay. When you just put that out in the open and you're like, it is what it is. I'm going to learn. I didn't start in my other profession knowing exactly how to do this. I made a lot of mistakes. And guess what? What's important is that when you make mistakes, because we all do, it's not a matter of if, it's when you make a mistake, what did you learn from it? And so I want to talk this morning about a way that I have been finding to be very helpful. And it might be something that to some of you, you go, I don't know if I want to do that. But I'm going to challenge you to have an open mind this morning and consider what I'm going to say. So I've heard some of our top leaders talk about building their business with leads, like buying leads to call and talk to people. And when I first heard that, I was like, no way, I don't want to do that. I just want to talk to people I know. That's not as scary. And then as I started getting into my business and talking to people and realizing that I've talked to a lot of my warm market, and a lot of them have come alongside, and they're either customers or they're business partners. But I've also come to a place where I want to expand my reach, and I want to make sure that I'm taking good care of those personal relationships with my warm market, with my close friends and family, so that there's never any feeling of yuck. And I know that's a big concern that a lot of people have with this industry is, well, I don't want to have to, get all my friends and family to sign up and buy stuff. And I get that. I completely understand and appreciate that. And so as I've heard some of our leaders talk about building with leads, I started thinking about that. And I'm like, well, maybe I should try it. So I did. And what I have discovered is that I can sit here at my desk and I can make phone calls to cold market all day long. All day long. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. The first couple, I was a little bit unsure. I'm like, I'm calling this person who I've never met before. They have no idea, who I am, what I'm doing, anything like that. Yikes. And what I realized is that absolute worst case scenario, what can happen? They can yell at me, or they can hang up on me, or they can say no. That's the worst case. Like, I've literally lost nothing because I haven't lost a relationship. I haven't upset somebody who I know and care about. And instead, I look at what's the best case scenario. Best case scenario, you call this person who you have no previous interaction with, no knowledge of, you don't know them from Adam, and you pick up the phone and you call them. Best case scenario, you find somebody who needs what you have, and you have a new customer or you have a new business partner. But in every single situation, it's an opportunity. If you have that mindset that says, I'm willing to suck at something new, if you have that mindset of learning from your mistakes and learning from every experience, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether they hang up on you and tell you never to call again, or you've acquired a new customer or business partner through it, in any situation, you can learn something from that. And so I have taken a couple of Tim Sales calling scripts, and I've sort of tweaked them, and I found the things that work really well that I feel are authentic to me and that feel natural. And so what I've done is I've ordered a few leads. Like I think I got 100 for under $40, and I've just been calling them. I literally call a half a dozen people a day who I don't know. I've never met them before. And I just pick up the phone. And what I found is when I call, I say, "Hi, this is Michelle. Is this John?" Or, "This is Michelle. May I please speak with John?" And when I identify myself first, instead of asking who they are, like, "Is this John?" their guard goes down, because I'm being upfront. I'm identifying myself and being transparent. "Hey, this is Michelle." And I've found that people are pretty open. They're pretty receptive. And when you are ordering those leads and calling those people, they've actually filled out a form online that says they're interested in an option to work from home. And so they kind of know why you're calling, because they filled out this form. And it's my opportunity when I pick up the phone and call them to make a connection with them, to drop the barriers and to just ask questions. Steve Schwartz talked to us 2 weeks ago, and it was a phenomenal training. If you weren't able to catch that one, I highly recommend you go back and watch it. And if you did catch it, go watch it again, because it's tremendous information. And so utilizing the information that Steve gave us 2 weeks ago about how do you connect with people, how do you qualify them, how do you interact with them, so that you're creating genuine relationship and showing that you truly care about them as a person, and finding out what's important to them makes a huge difference. So when I call and I get these people on the phone, I'm like, "Hey, this is Michelle. Is this John?" And he'll say, "Yeah." And I will lead with just saying, "I got an email that you filled out a form online that said you were looking for a business or a way to earn money from home. Have you found what you're looking for?" And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no, and you respond appropriately. If they say yes, you say, "That's fantastic. I'm really happy for you. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you for taking my call." Keep it friendly, keep it happy, keep it positive, regardless of what the answer is. And if they say no, ask them if it's okay for you to share a little information with them. Ask them a few questions to find out if it's a good fit. And what I've been discovering in doing this over and over again as I'm making these phone calls is that it's getting easier every time. And I'm finding a groove and a rhythm and a way of asking questions that is making it flow. It's making it a smooth and fluid process for me. And I know in the beginning, when we first start talking to people, we're like choppy. It's like the cell phone that's got bad service. I don't know what to say. And so as we, this practice with cold market that you literally have nothing to lose from, it gives you a safe space to practice. And when you have that mindset of, "I'm going to learn from every single interaction I have with every person I meet," it doesn't matter if it's for your business. You can learn something from every person you come in contact with, good or bad. You might learn how you don't want to be. You might learn something that works really well. And so in this process of connecting with people I don't know, I'm giving myself, so I set it up so I get 6 a day. I have created for myself an opportunity to learn from 6 new people every single day, to practice my skills. And best case scenario, I'm going to find somebody who comes alongside and says, "That's awesome. I want to do that." Worst case scenario, they say no, and I have gained more practice. I've gained more confidence. I have learned what works well for me to say, what doesn't work well. Like, and you'll find as you begin to practice, what do people open up to? What makes them feel comfortable and want to talk to you? And what are questions that when you ask them, you feel people shut down? So then you can kind of put that question in the let's not ask that again category. And as you go along, you're going to develop a confidence about talking to people you don't know in a way that's professional, it's upbeat, it's concise, because we don't want to take up a ton of their time, because we want them to see, oh, I was only on the phone with this person for, I don't know, 5 to 15 minutes, maybe. I can do that. I can make a few phone calls a day, to talk to people. It doesn't take very long. Because if we take 30 minutes to an hour, the first time we talk to them, they're going to go, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. So by doing this and practicing, you're going to get it refined. You're going to get it to where it's fluid for you, where you know what pieces of information to share and when, how to find out from them, is this going to be something that's a good fit? Because as I've been talking to people and asking questions, there's some of them who I've realized right off, this is not going to be a good fit for them. It's just not. And that's okay. And I have been upfront and honest with them about that. And I've said, you know what? I appreciate you taking my phone call and in hearing what it is that you're looking for. I don't think what I have is a good fit for you. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. And that way they're like, oh, okay, cool. They're not trying to sell me nothing. They're not trying to talk me into something. So you're respectful of them and their circumstances, while also looking for someone who is a good fit for you and your business. And we want the two to come together in a nice meeting and marriage of their needs and what you have to offer. And are we a good connection point for each other? And so Anthony wants to talk about being prepared and kind of controlling what you can control. And I think this is one thing that we can control. And there's options out there that are inexpensive. And I would even encourage you to find some of the really inexpensive ones, because they might not be the people who come along and join you. And that is okay, because the whole goal of this is to get better at talking to people. And so, these ones that I found, you might even go in with a teammate or a couple of them and say, hey, I see this lead company offers 600 leads for $135. Let's split that between 4 of us. That's like $40 a piece. And let's just practice. We can all get a bunch of different leads. We can all call, we can all share the cost, or, do like I did and get 100 for $40. And you're giving yourself an opportunity to learn and to grow. And so when you do that, I would say for you, if you're uncomfortable or feeling like your little spiel is not well prepared or you're not confident in it, get some of these and start practicing. And if you have new people that come along, that come on board with you, encourage them to do the same. And I would say even before they contact their warm market, because when you do that, when you begin to practice in a setting where you have nothing to lose, where you're not going to burn a relationship, where you're not going to, offend or off-put somebody that's really important to you, or, and I have done this, have somebody who's a really high value prospect that you think could bring so much value to your business, who could be very good at this, and you don't know what to say and you don't know how to say it. And so you just like verbal vomit all over them and they go, no thanks. And you've lost that contact. You have lost that bridge with inexperience. And so by talking to people you don't know, where you can't lose anything, but you can gain experience and practice and competence and confidence, then a little bit farther down the road, you can approach that high value person. with a greater level of confidence that you know what you're doing, you know how to talk to them. And so, Anthony, would you hop in here and talk to us about the preparation and the habits and the things that you wanted to share today that ties into this this practice and preparation?
Absolutely. And you guys, it's always amazing because I'll text me and Michelle a text and be like, "What's on your mind?" And then when she told me hers, I was like, "Well, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about." I just wanted to come from the preparation standpoint because uh, everybody might not watch football, but this past weekend I've seen football start. And one thing I've seen on the from the NFL standpoint is some coaches came prepared and some coaches did not. And so my question for you is, are you preparing for what's to come in this business for you and your family? Are you preparing yourself for what's to come? The owners have made their commitment that they're sticking to it, that they're going to push this business to over 2.5 billion or however high they can go before they even think about taking a break from the business. So my question is, are you preparing yourself to get your piece? Are you preparing yourself to get whatever piece you want for you and your family? You may want multi-million, because a lot of people, I don't even think a lot of y'all understand what 2.5 billion is broken down into. You know how many millionaires that is? For every billion, that's 1,000 millionaires. No, I'm sorry. 10,000. Is that correct? I think it's 10,000 millionaires.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Too many. My math don't even, but it's a lot. A lot more than you can really just think about. So my question is, are you preparing? And that's just for 1 billion. They say they want to be a and then they want to be the Amazon of network marketing. They want to pass up all the big name companies, which means we probably got to be around a $10 billion company to be number one. Are you preparing yourself to become the best you? Michelle has to become the best Michelle. Lance has to become the best Lance. Sonya has to become the best Sonya. Billy has to become the best Billy. Brian has to become see, you got to prepare yourself for that. I can talk to you. I can do my best to try to motivate you. But at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I can get better at inviting. I can get better at making the calls to, like Michelle said, she said, that is something that you can that is part of your preparation, is getting better. The only way to get good at something is you just got to practice. Just like watching my niece and nephews when they want to play different sports and different things. When they first get out there, to be honest, they just look bad. But they go, where they go? They go to practice. Heard Billy say he running 8 miles before. He was telling me he's running 8 miles a day. But he's like, man, a couple weeks ago, that was mind blowing. I couldn't do it. He had to prepare himself to get to where 8 miles became easy. So are you preparing yourself where invitations get easier for you, where you can call and invite people, where doing presentations are easier for you, where the website becomes easier for you? Are you doing the fundamental things on your end to prepare yourself? Yeah, everything on the website may not work, but have you been working on your invitation? Have you been working on filling out your calendar every week? Have you been working on the little things to make yourself better? And so I just want to ask you that. Are you preparing yourself? That's the question I just want you to think about the rest of the day. Am I doing everything I want to? And then, because we all prepare for things that, like vacation, we prepare for those things. If I ask you about to go on vacation, I bet you have where you're going, what time your flight is, you have the bags packed, you have everything laid out. But you won't do that for your multi-million-dollar business that you have in your hands. You have a multi-million-dollar business. We know one thing. We know a couple of things. Well, we know for sure we have the best products on planet Earth, I believe. I'm looking at other companies. People are trying to compare this and compare that. And then I'm looking at certifications we have that they don't have. They be like, oh, we have this, and they have 2 certifications, and we have 30 certifications. So we have the best products of the world. We know lots of people need what we have, but we don't even aren't even preparing ourselves to better ourselves. And then you watch like all these famous athletes, they prepare, they go athletes, politicians. I watch all the, actors, they all prepare, movie directors, they all prepare to get the best out of everything that they're doing. Musicians go and practice before they perform. Before they do a show, they walking out on stage and kind of see, they're preparing mentally. See, my thing is, have you seen that? And Todd asked me this, and this is where I got from. He said, have you visualized what you truly wanted? Can you visualize yourself in that dream car? Can you visualize yourself in that dream home, in a dream vacation, taking your family here, doing this? Can you visualize that? Have you? And if you can't, then that's part of your preparation. Can you visualize yourself receiving that $10,000 a week check? And if not, that's part of your preparation. That's something you got to sit down and say, you know what? I deserve that. But first, you got to start preparing your mind as well. You got to prepare your mind. You got to prepare your skills. You got to prepare your family. You got to understand, like, hey, I'm doing this because this is what is going to help us travel the world, do what we want to, move when we want to, have time freedom, have financial freedom. Your spouse, you got to prepare everybody around you mentally. At least you got to let them know, like, hey, you may not understand where I'm going, but this is why I'm doing this. You see, these are numbers. You can show a person a number, and then you got to follow it up with action. Like, for instance, I use Michelle. If Michelle went to her husband and said, and she told him, she said, hey, I'm going to be making $10,000 a week, and this is my goal with this business. He may not see it, but you prepare him to understand, like, hey, it's coming. I'm just letting you know that I'm putting it out there. I had to tell somebody that I'm going to get it done. How it's going to happen, I don't know. What person I'm going to call on the phone that's going to lead me to 1,000 more people, I don't know. But what I can tell you is I'm mentally getting prepared for what's coming. And then so my thing is, I had some tips, 4 tips I wanted to share. Tip number 1 is you got to figure out which area. See, all the different areas you got to be able to master, but you can't master them all at once. So you can't master invitation and closing and all those at one time. You're going to strain yourself. So you got to figure out which one. You know what? Okay, for the next 30 days, this is what I'm a master. I'm a master being a better inviter. And tip number 2 is, it goes right with tip number 1. After you figure out which area you want to master, now you got to figure out where you're going to learn to get better at. So, for instance, invitation, there's books out there where people write about, and there's programs that people put out that show you different ways to invite. And I encourage you at least got to see what separates 5% from 95% of the people is, I know this may not be fun for a lot of people, but it's reading. To become 5% in the 5% area, you need to read 5 books in the area before, other than somebody else. So if it's invitation, I encourage you to go find 5 invitation books. Go to Amazon, find 5 books. You have to read 5 books because, that's something 95% of the people won't do. And you're on this call at 10 a.m. Central or in the mountain time, which is even earlier, or Pacific, or you're watching this recording because you want to be better. And so you gotta learn to master. You gotta read 5 books in there. You want to become a network marketing professional. Well, you gotta read 5 books on network marketing. You know, and you want to get better in areas, read or listen to the books. You really have to really dig into that area. Tip number 3, it goes right back to where Michelle popped it off with. You have to practice. You have to practice on a daily basis. You have to practice. If it's invitation, every single day, you need to be working on the invitation of some kind. I don't care if it's 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, whatever number works best for you. Everybody knows their own schedule, but you got to do it daily, or at least 6 days out the week. You know, at least 6 days, 1 day of rest, that's fine. But at least 6 days out the week, you need to be practicing. I didn't get good at inviting until I just kept doing it over and over. But I remember going back when I was 21, 22, that's all we did. 6 days out the week, we was calling 3 to 5 people a day. Did I get people that hung up? These are close warm market. So did I get people hanging up saying, no, I'm not interested? Absolutely. But I kept going. And over time, I got better and better and better and better. And some of those people that I talked to years ago, I just had one of my best friends in the whole wide world join me. A former NCAA track athlete, ran for the USA track and field, ran all over the world, now coaches around the world. And it took almost a decade. But because I got better, because when I first tried to talk to her, I just vomited all over, like Michelle said. And now I just kind of let it rub off where, maybe you should try this, added it to the Level Up group and, just did it. But I got practice over time and it got better when the invitation was, I said, hey, you need to just check it out. I don't care if you tell me no, but you never really looked. And when she actually looked, she's like, I don't know why I didn't join 10 years ago. But see, I got better only in practice. And then number 5 kind of ties in the tip number 2. And that is, number 4, I'm sorry. And that's, you got to invest in yourself and into your business. Michelle talked about a way to invest into getting more people to talk to. That was the invitation. So that was getting some leads. That's investing in yourself. That's investing in your business. You got to be willing to put whatever you make, you need to be willing to put. I heard Jeff Roberti, the only person in network marketing, make over $100 million in network marketing, say a lot of people aren't willing to take 30% of whatever they make and reinvest it back into it. He was taking 30 to 40% of what he made and put it back into his business. We know conferences coming up. Well, okay, who you bringing with you? Okay, well, you bring somebody with you. Hey, well, they buy their plane ticket or they purchase their ticket, you help them out with the room or you help them out with a ticket. That's reinvesting back into your business because we know leaders are made at events. That is where that is where a person truly can find their belief. My first event, I never forget, I was 21 years old and the event was in Dallas, Texas at the Hyatt. That event was there before anybody who's been to Dallas. That event was there before the Omni was built here in Dallas. And the Omni now is the biggest hotel downtown right there. But that event was right there. And I'll never forget sitting in the back of the room and watching these people walk across the stage. And I said, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it. It built belief in me, hearing the different stories, people from different walks of life. And that's where the events are made. But going to events, that's investing in your business, that's investing in yourself. And I promise you it will pay off. Even for my friends that's in Canada that may not be able to make it. What I've been watching a lot of them do is invest in themselves, and they offer the Zoom online. They'll sit there online and watch. That's investing in yourself. Now, there's nothing better than being there physically. If you can make it there physically, I encourage you to get there because physically you will be able to feel the energy. You can feel it through the Zoom too, but in the room is just no better place. But what I can tell you is these are tips to prepare yourself to be the best you. You have to become the best you. You have to become that person that you're trying to recruit. Some people say, I want somebody with some influence. Well, have you worked on becoming a better person of influence? Just in the people around you. And you could do that within your family. You could do that within your friends. You can do that by just practicing over and over and getting better and preparing yourself. And I encourage everybody to do that. You can do it. You just gotta believe in yourself. You gotta practice. You got to practice, like Michelle said. You got to practice on those things. You got to practice on closing. You got to practice on invitation. You got to practice on how to do a presentation. You got to practice on just knowing how to find the different things that we do have in our business. Like, I ain't saying you got to. I know I see Miss Sonia is on here, and I know she's a person that knows a lot about the products. That's not me. But I can practice on how to find the information so I can send it out when a person needs it. I can practice. Michelle is somebody who's very technical on how things work. And I'm pretty sure that comes from just being in photography, just having to know, the lighting got to be right. But I don't have to be there, but I can know how to guide somebody to a video that shows them how to do that. See, everybody won't be like you, but you at least got to be able to show people how to get to the information that they are looking for. And just being able to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna figure out the answer. And so I love, like, when Miss Sonia came aboard, she was asking me questions I did not know. But it made me go, like, you know what, I need to figure out at least how to find it so I can guide her how she can grab it. And so that's what I prepare myself. You just got to get better at just those little things like that. And I promise you, it would benefit you in the long run. And so that's just one. Yeah.
I have one more thing that I just wanted to add into what you were talking about, belief and believing in yourself. And I want to encourage you to recognize that when people say no, they are not rejecting you. Okay. I just want, even if you write it down on a sticky note that says, when someone says no, they're not rejecting me, or it's not personal. Because sometimes when we get started with this and people tell us no, we get discouraged. We feel beat down. We're like, nobody likes me. They're rejecting me. It's me as a person. And that's not what it is. That's not what it's about. And I want each and every one of you to just put a block on that and say, I will not receive that, because that's not what it is. It is not, will not be a rejection of you. They're not interested in what you got. They have a bad attitude. It's not a good fit. They're in a bad space. It's not about you. And so when you just make that switch in your head that says, this is about me offering to serve, finding a way to serve. And if they receive it, great. And if they don't, great. I'm going to do it anyways. Believe that. Invest in yourself. Be willing to take those steps to get better. And recognize, like, if you just go into it knowing, people are probably going to tell me no. It's not about me. It's not personal. Therefore, I don't care if they tell me no. If you just, even if you say that out loud to yourself every time before you sit down to make phone calls, people might tell me no. People might hang up on me, but that's okay. If you go through that process every time, it's going to get to a point where then you won't have to do it anymore, because it's just ingrained. It's just in your heart that you know that you have something to offer, something to serve, something to help and to benefit others. And if they choose not to receive that gift, that's okay. And that's not on you. But you keep going, keep doing it, keep after it, keep working to improve yourself and your skills and to make people's lives better in the process. And it's going to pay off. It will. It's going to. Whether that's in your business, whether that's your personal confidence and mindset and your own internal growth, it's going to have value and to pay off. So I hope you guys got value.
And I would say, and I would say, this is something that always goes through my mind before I'm about to call somebody, or when I'm about to reach out to people on a certain day, and it's just a day of reaching out to people, and it's just marry the process and divorce the outcome. I don't care what a person's going to tell me on the other end. My goal is to serve, and that should be your goal. Don't think about how much money you're going to make if this person signs up. Don't think about, just think about, like, you know what? I'm reaching out to this person, and I'm hoping that, just ask God, say, really, before you call people, I always do this. I always ask God to put the right people in my life, people that are looking, people that are open-minded. And trust me, watch how he sorts through them for you. He does great on sorting. And next thing you know, as you're calling, you're going to be seeing people. Now, you may not believe in God. Hey, you have your own belief system, but I believe that there is a higher power. And guess what? When I do that, my day of calling people is a lot better. And I promise you, it's absolutely amazing. But like Michelle said, you don't have to Don't worry about what's gonna come. Don't think about everybody that you're calling like they're gonna sign up, because that's gonna beat you up more. You just gotta think about the long goal and just say, you know what, this is my steps to get there. Don't look at the whole staircase. Take step one. That's pick up the phone and ask them, are they open to looking, or your whatever scripture you're looking at, or whatever, whichever way you're doing it. But that's what I would encourage you to do. But I know we went over a little bit, but I believe that this can help out a lot of people. And I want to see everybody reach their goals and dreams. Your goal may not be multi-million, but you at least got to know what you're shooting for. You may just want to supplement your current income. Well, write that down and say, you know what? And tell somebody. Tell your success line. Tell somebody above you. Tell somebody cross line. Send it to somebody. Say, hey, my goal is I do want to make $10,000 a week. I want to make $500 a week extra. I want to, and it's okay to start small. It's all right, but you got to at least tell somebody and then go do it. Figure out what you got to do to prepare to get it done. Yeah, and just start doing it. Start doing it. Start making the calls. Start inviting. Start doing presentations. I don't care. I heard somebody, I think that was Miss Lily, said she remember when I first got started. Well, it's funny because I could talk to people sitting down in the room, but I'm always nervous. When I first got on these Zooms, I used to get nervous. I'm like, but it's just Zoom. It's just same thing like being in front of the room. But I also remember when I used to be nervous getting in front of the room. But it just took practice and practice. But then also I realized I had to marry the process and divorce the outcome. My goal when I got in front of the room or when I get into the Zoom isn't to sign people up. My goal is just to share from the heart and let it touch whoever it touch. So you gotta evaluate yourself too. You gotta look at yourself. Am I having am I looking at the outcome of what's going to come, or am I calling because I really want to help somebody? Do I really want to help somebody build a business? Do I really want to help somebody lose weight? Do I really want to help somebody get healthy? Whichever way that you are serving, but I believe all those should be in your serving mentality, because that's what our company offers is those. So, hey, I love you guys. Michelle, did you have anything you want to end off with?
That's it. Hey, just believe for the best and go out there and rock it.
And we'll have the recording out if you need to send to anybody who missed it, maybe at work. I know a lot of people were texting, I'm at work, could you send me the recording? I understand. So I'll put the recording up as soon as possible. Hey, love you guys. And I'll mute everybody so y'all can tell Michelle how wonderful she is.